Hello, welcome to Waiting for Game, podcast presented by Melee Stats. I am your host, Gimme That Wheat, and I think we have a fun episode to talk about this week. After a little bit of a break, I am happy to get back to talking to some of my best friends in the scene from all over the eastern seaboard of the United States. We're swapping out one Bostonian for another today, and in the place of Edwin Budding, we have the wonderful Ambi Sinister coming off of a 2 month break
Yeah.
from waiting for a game. It's been a while. Ambi, what is going on?
Yeah, I've been moving and busy for various reasons, but I have my own like little office now, so I'm more able to do these. So you'll probably be seeing my ugly mug a little bit more often on the show if you're a regular watcher.
I think people are going to be so excited about that. That sounds awesome. We got to get you some, like, when you watch like sports shows and they have like really dumb stuff in the background of all their houses. We have to get you like a signed football, whatever the equivalent for Melee is.
Just like steal Mango's Evo trophy and just have it in the background.
Well, it's never like the goat that steals like the game winning, like Super Bowl winning touchdown football. It's always just like some random very good person. So you'll have like a frame one signed by Fat Goku or something. It's like something to Knockos that doesn't make sense, but we'll figure that out obviously. And then hailing from up north for me, we have the fated crossover event that was supposed to happen a little while ago. Patti, we'll get into this, but the Allston Melee / Melee Stats crossover, unfortunately, a little doomed. Yes, some wires were crossed here and there, but we were finally able to get it happen. Patti, what is going on?
Wheat, you have introed me, so that means I can finally talk. I appreciate it. Not much. Yes, it has finally happened. Allston Melee, X Melee Stats. It's like we've been on the cusp so constantly, and today those borders have finally been crossed.
Two
I
ships in the
was
night.
I was literally on the Allston Melee couch one night.
That's true. The faded episode that never was.
Yeah, that was a very fun time to shed some light into this. I for whatever freaks out there who follow the show, they might remember there was a tweet that said that I was going to be on your show, and that obviously never came to pass. Yeah, we had to go to Boston for something. We had to. The Melee Stats had an expedition to Boston, and I took a day early trip, and I was like, dude, this is gonna be so sick. I'm gonna be on Allston Melee. I'm gonna get to see my friends. And I get there, and it's like, Patty's like, okay, I'm super sick. Like, Michael's not here. I don't know what Ryan's doing. Ted's in the house though.
Just stuff happened immediately, and it
It
just
was
did
amazing.
not come together. Yeah, but did you sit in the sunken seat?
I sat in both. I was on the Ramones couch. I was in the sunken place.
Mm-hmm.
I heard there was some going like back and forth as to which one is better to sleep on. There's some debate, and I do have my ideas on that
Okay.
I will keep to myself. I think I'll save them for the perfect opportunity.
Which one did
Uh,
you sleep on? Is all I want to know.
I spent time on both,
Okay. All
so
right. All
I
right.
definitely have like a leg to stand on here in this debate.
So what I'm going for here is Waka Flocka has slept on the Ramones couch in its past life when it lived on the Adidas I don't know, somewhere, some shoe place, and Waka Flocka slept on that couch, and we were like, yeah, we want the couch.
Did you have to pay for it, or was it like free with
Oh,
pickup?
free. Oh, that thing is
Okay.
falling apart.
I was gonna say, dude, you might have gotten duped. That's the oldest trick in the book. Waka Flocka slept here.
There's literally a seat called the sunken seat that I mentioned previously. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's kind
no,
of the state of it.
it was fun. It was my name's on the little whiteboard in the Allston Melee house, and Ted asked me. He said, "So Edwin makes all the videos, right?" uh, yeah. Ambi, do you want to clear that up in
Yeah,
a
what's
one
your
word
opinion
answer?
on that?
What do I even say, dude? He does not make all the videos. That
Are
is
you
the
sure?
official Melee Stats stance, is that more than one of us makes the videos.
Dude, I love this idea. It gets to his head so much, Edwin's head, that like he has so much power because people will just like they'll talk about the top 100 and they'll be like, of course Mango's number one. Edwin made it, so he of course rigged it. It's like he's not that powerful, dude. He's got limits. But of course, you know, we're having fun here. We're talking about Edwin Budding, someone who you know, he is someone who has been involved in a week, 10-day long effort. Just this jam-packed blitzkrieg of content and brainstorming sessions that is leading to GenAssist. Patti, do you wanna run me by what kind of happened to get to GenAssist? Obviously, GenAssist. We did not do an episode on this, but I'm sure, as everyone in the community knows, GenAssist is not currently happening this coming weekend. They did postpone something that we have not seen from basically any tournament of this size. So they postponed, and obviously there's kind of an empty weekend. So do you want to explain kind of where the idea for GenAssist came from?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a ton of pieces that will get missed in the great building that was this thing. But essentially, you know, Bobak came to me and was like, "Hey, this thing's not happening." And I was like, "Oh shit, this thing's not happening." Or it's being postponed. I shouldn't say not happening.
April 15th through 17th.
Yeah,
in San Jose, California.
You can still register and you can still support them that way. But I was essentially like, do you want me to help with fundraiser stuff just immediately? And he was like, I hadn't really thought about it like that much, but I like, you know, gave some quick opinions. And then he was like, okay, so basically I'm going to go decompress for about 3 days and I will not look at this Discord. And I was like, understandable. Have a nice weekend. So I don't know, just like collaborating with the 5 Days of Melee people, just like immediately trying to get something going. And just trying to fill the role that was good old Paper Fairy and Matt.Zeb, and using their past documents to the best that I can. Yeah, so the blood of GVS and Shine run through me as I helped run this tournament, or whatever you can call this.
Multimedia event.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the team. I mean, it's hard to call this 1-to-1, but it's basically a lot of the same people who worked on 5 Days of Melee, are at the helm of this. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was lucky enough to be involved with this, and I don't think I ruined it, which is always a good feeling.
I feel like you killed it.
We'll see. I don't think everything's locked in yet.
Do you want to talk about what you did for this event?
Well, let's talk about what this event is.
Okay, fair.
So obviously it's this kind of nebulous thing because we don't even really know how to refer to that. Yeah. So what GenAssist is, I guess, like in its simplest terms, is a fundraising stream. It's like kind of a tournament. It's kind of a charity event. It's this kind of like weird amalgamation of a bunch of different things. And I think it's going to end up being pretty cool when it's all said and done. But this is something that is like collaborating. Is that a legal word that I can use? Is that
you're allowed?
Moves
it flies.
Not?
It flies.
Okay. I will not get sued for the Mogul Moves LLC for saying, yeah, it's in collaboration with LICS4, biggest net play tournament we've seen. I think they're trying to call it like the second biggest Melee tournament of all time.
That's some branding for sure.
Hey, why not? Yeah, just like I was on Twitter the other day and I saw Contra talk about like whether or not DQs should be counted when you talk about stuff like that. It's like a very vested interest. When you know you're running a tournament with that has like 60% LUD children, like who have not used Slippy before. No, but LACS4 is coming up. It's going to be this pretty crazy event. Obviously, we're going to be able to talk about it later in the show. And GenAssist is kind of this lead up to it, this like ramp to this event, and during this event. And it just has a bunch of different things. It's not as varied as 5-Dom. I think 5-Dom's like whole thing was content celebrating the Melee scene. And I think that Genesis is a similar thing. It definitely has a lot of the same content, but it's more focused on like exhibition matches and kind of like trying to tell the story of Genesis through sets. Going through Genesis history, going through the history of NorCal as much as possible, and I think we're gonna see some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think 5 Days of Melee kind of silently created a model for a stream that can happen in Melee, and I think that was really cool. Just this idea that like you can run a stream and it's not necessarily a tournament. Sure, there could be a tournament, there could be multiple tournaments, but just like this idea of like there could be Melee content, there could be all these things and sort of like a celebration of Melee, and I think that was really cool. I ran this super swag event called the Allston Melee Bender that I was very proud of, that kind of mimicked that format, but not necessarily for the same cause as 5 Days of Melee was a strictly charity event. But trying to raise some money for a new computer and stuff like that, and it turned out to be a lot bigger event than we even initially imagined. But
the ThinkPads are gone.
The ThinkPads are gone, dude. It's a different era, unfortunately. We got editor, dude. We got an editor.
Yeah,
my dude TK out in Australia, bro. He cuts it up.
Dude, we have an intern. It's not the same anymore. We've all gone.
What
Hollywood.
happened to us?
Do you know who really is continuing this for the scene? It's Cypher. It's
True.
Bottom of the Smash Mountain.
True.
That dude, he's the only one who's not gone to Hollywood. He's not sold out yet.
What I heard, Edwin.
Dude, look at Abby's new house.
The house off of content. Yeah. Yeah.
Abby,
no, what I heard.
Basement, don't you?
I do have a basement. It's pretty sweet.
I don't think anyone who makes Smash content is not able to have a basement. They're not allowed. Once you get a basement, you get too rich.
Oh no.
It's like the idea that once top players get too good, they should be banned from the scene. It's the same idea. Once you hit 20,000 YouTube subscribers or whatever, it's just like
exactly. That's the number. That's the number where everything changes.
But Patti, I cut you off by talking about Abby's basement. What were you about to say?
I'm gonna shit talk Edwin, to be completely honest, so we can move on.
Oh my god, no, I like we could not go past that.
Okay, fine. I was gonna say, when I heard that Edwin say the words, I'll let my intern handle this, I was like, look how much everything's changed. Like, we should just stop here.
Yeah, he loves to refer to our intern as our intern. Like even to us who know our intern. It's like not necessary to
it
call
like
him our
almost
intern.
feels like a running gag more than anything else. Like, it's not at all a joke, especially when Anoke refers to him as the intern. But it just I don't know, referring to him as the intern is so funny to me for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, he does have to get our coffee and everything like that. And,
buy you tacos or whatever.
he did buy me Del Taco, yeah. So that there's perks that come with having an intern. What can I say? No, I don't know how we got on this. We're not we got too big for our britches here.
We're being
have no connection to the scene.
self-indulgent. We have Genesis to save.
Exactly. We have given up ourselves, our own brands. We have become out of touch with who we once were, and now we are trying to save a bigger, better brand, which is Genesis. I'm looking forward to what we're about to put on. What else needs to be said about this? Because this is something that I don't know. I don't want to know if we need to get into the nitty gritty, but this is something that kind of like 5 Days of Melee has been put together on like a real shoestring, like number of hours. That like the work that was provided by the people who are involved is so amazing and so last minute that like, dude, I cannot stop talking about how incredible the work that the team has already done for this. And it's not even, we're not even there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part about everything constantly has just been like, okay, hey, I need this, this, and this, and this, and this. And everyone's like, yeah, this person's like, yeah, it's a great idea. I'll get right on that. It's like, okay, I need that like in 2 hours. Like, because this needs to happen so that this can happen. And it's just constant, just like things. And the blocks are slowly falling and it's like actually looking like a real piece of art. But it's just like, God, getting there has just been like, all right, cool. One step further.
It's stressful, but it's almost like there's not much more stress that can happen. So it's like good in a way. Do you know what I'm like? Maybe this is Ambi, you went to Yale. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know if you want to bring this up. You wear Yale shirts every single episode you're in, except for today, apparently.
I'm not wearing a Yale shirt.
I said except for today.
A working class AF card shirt.
Hey, the true working class man or person cannot afford a car right now. So
that's true.
Or a basement. So, but Ambi, you went to Yale. You obviously were not a failing student like I was. But I did the thing where I was like, I work best under pressure. So I would not do any work. And it feels like GenAssist is kind of...
it's a bit of a pressure cooker, you might even say.
Yeah. Like, I don't have even the ability to put stuff off because it's just like, it's all there. It's like needs to be done in such a short time that as we get closer, I actually feel a little bit better because I was like, okay, well, we're getting there. It's like the extra time we would need to prepare at this point is just like, we're obviously not going to get it. So the closer we get, just feed it to me. So I'm feeling pretty confident about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I have this cool, I wouldn't call it a superpower, but it's a talent to just have like a completely calm head going through an event. And there are some times where it's stressful and you see me sweating. Whenever I'm sweating, that's the point where I'm stressed. But there are like, you can still have a conversation with me. There are some TOs where it's just like, they are not a human being during like peak, stress times. And I like to think that I am very good with still being approachable and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the talent, like the second that the event ends, I am just existential dread mode every single time to the 10th degree, to the point now where I'm like aware of it. So I'm like, okay, I can prepare in a healthy manner for this feeling that will eventually happen come Sunday morning or whatever. But I'm feeling good. Like everything's just happening. I'm just like, cool. I don't know. There's no alarms going off in any direction. So that's cool.
Well, we're kind of like dancing around stuff. Obviously GenAssist it's got a lot of, I don't know how many more times I can say it's cool and it's going to be good, but it's got cool events and those events are going to be good events. But there's definitely some stuff that we have not revealed. I don't know to what extent we can talk about what is going to be happening or if we can just talk about what's already on the docket. But do you want to go through some things that we might see? Like if there's anyone in the audience who does not really know what GenAssist is, what is there going to be in this, I don't know, 36 hour, what is it? How many hours of content is this going to end up being?
Yep.
Yeah. So what are we going to end up seeing in this 36 hour content marathon?
All right, so Thursday starts. There's some content that explains what this is, which I'm not going to spoil yet, but that'll happen. And then the first show match that we'll have will be Lord versus Silent Spectre, which is just like, an I love you to Genesis.
Insane.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Later in the day, there'll be some other stuff that'll happen, which will be announced soon. But there will also be a NorCal versus SoCal crew battle. And then there'll be a headlining a match that will be announced very soon for that one. And pretty much the full schedule will be announced within the next couple of days. And then Friday, we have Pip versus Prescient opening up the stream, giving the EU people something to watch, especially during the times that they're actually awake, hopefully. I have no idea if we actually checked if they're awake then, but I think we're like, that's around when that time is.
Yeah, it's they might be past some of their bedtimes, but
sure. Yeah,
it's Melee. And it's Melee and it's Europe. I don't think any like European 19-year-old has a job. I think that they all get like free healthcare, and they have to do any worries in the world. They just like go on bikes and like look at rivers or something. That's my idea of what happens in Europe. So I'm sure like whatever time it is, they'll be up.
They get their career handed to them when they turn 12. It's like, yes, you will be this. Awesome. Go into the world.
You're gonna stamp the chocolate bars at the factory, and you're going to get $75,000, 4 weeks of vacation, and like full healthcare. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, not over here in America, the home of the brave. Another thing that will be happening Friday, which has gotten a lot of traction, is MK Leo versus Spargo ... in Melee.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious, which is one of the things that I have for you, Wheat, as an announcement that we have not announced.
Okay.
Is the fact that Void and Coney will be commentating this match. Which is just hilarious that this is just happening. And everyone just said yes to it. I think is the funniest part.
It's I don't think you can call it anything but privilege. How, like, I mean, for me, I have been like so lucky in my Melee career, for quote unquote career, to just like have everyone be very nice to me, and it's just like the most insane things I can come up with. I'll just ask people, and then if there's any indication, if there's like anything to prove that this is something that happens, it is the fact that we are going to see in like with a few days notice, we're going to see the two best Ultimate players play Melee and have an incredible Ultimate player and one of the best Ultimate commentators commentate. Patti, do you mind if I reveal what Leo said earlier today?
You can.
All right. Would it ruin the magic if I talk about a little bit how this is going to be aired?
I think there's a way where you can not spoil the trick.
I will say, the match that we are going to see, Leo versus Spargo, both people who play Melee, of course, it's like, even though they're super young, I think Leo's just older than Melee. He turned 21 like this week, and then Spargo obviously is like 16. But both people who have played Melee, there's like few videos of it online. You can that they played this game. What the set that we are going to see, Leo will have had Slippy downloaded for about 3 hours before that set takes place, and he's my goat. Like I like Ultimate in a way. It's my extent of liking Ultimate is like when I am trying to find people at a major who want to go like get food and get drunk, when like that's Ultimate's on at that time because Melee has ended. So like, yeah, like while we're waiting to hear from people, I'll like watch the stream and see like what Cola is doing or whatever. So I don't really have like necessarily a favorite, but Leo deciding to play this stream, this set on like 3 hours of Melee of having Slippy, he's my goat. He's like, I don't care what he okay. I don't care about a lot of things that he can do. but a lot of things will not change my opinion on Leo because it's kind of cemented as like that's some GOAT status right there.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Ambi, what do you think of this? This is
so I knew that Leo played a little bit of Melee.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Melee he's played. I've seen Spargo play. I think Spargo is kind of nice with it. So
that's what I've heard is that like
if Leo wins, then that's kind of nuts. I think
I think it's Sheik. I think Leo might go Sheik. Leo might go Marth, I think, from what I've heard. But every time I've seen him play in like random clips here and there, it tends to be Sheik. And I believe Spargo is like pretty dedicated to Marth. So I think it could be super cool. But yeah, the fact that it's existing at all is wild. Patti, what else are we gonna see? What else is on the docket for GenAssist?
Last thing on MK Leo. When we were building out the schedules, we had a couple different versions of it for different reasons. For instance, like commentary versus is this confirmed. all this other stuff. In my version of the schedule, I had this one basically just blacked out because I did not think there was a world
There was
where they
no
would say
trust in
yes
wheat.
to this idea, and they said yes. So I had to be like scramble last minute, figure out like, all right, what are we actually doing here? But yeah, I don't know. I was proud. I'm proud of you, Wheat. I don't know if we've actually talked what you've done here, but basically you're very in direction for the show matches that are involved.
I'm happy to be a part of it, to get some of these like really crazy ideas, to get them actually happening. But yeah, so that's going to be happening Friday. Do we have anything else Friday? I know there's some. I won't reveal anything because this schedule will be revealed. But what's going to happen at the end of each day should be pretty cool. I think there's a reason to stick around every single day, and that's all I'll say about it right for now. But is there anything else on Friday that we have as announced?
And speaking of reasons to stick around, we have Slime vs. Blur on Friday, which is just tells the story itself.
There's some whisperings of charts.
Dude, have you heard about the charts? I don't know what's happening, but all I can say is that like actually tune in for this because I think we're about to see Melee commentary be broken. Like I think this is the day.
I heard. I don't want to reveal anything there's a lot to be revealed here. I heard a commentator in a Discord say, "I think my brain's going nuts. I've watched like 90 Crimson Blur games." And someone was like, "Why did you do that?" and this commentator responded that it's for a Genesis thing. And I want to be clear, no one was asked to do this. No. Look, we have asked a lot of people some crazy things for Genesis to happen. And I think that, like, hey, we talked about Leo Spargo. That's a big ask. But that would be the biggest ask of all time if we asked someone to watch 90 games of Blur and analyze them. If anyone starts going crazy and needs to be put into like a white padded room that because of too much like Blur exposure, it's not going to fall back on Genesis. Nothing was asked of them.
Never have I ever seen a commentator go to the design team and say, "Hey, I need this thing, but you have to DM me it because it needs to be a secret." And them say, "Okay, I'm DMing you." Yeah, that's the quality of our design team.
I think the thing about Genesis, GenAssist, amazing name until you like have to say it out loud. The thing about GenAssist, the series that has been running since 2009, is that I think it brings out a lot of emotions in people, right? Like Genesis itself was something that people who were around at the time have a lot of connection to. Genesis 2 is like very historical. It's the same thing. People have a lot of emotional connection if they were in the scene. And I think like, Genesis 3, that's our generation, our Melee generation. We have a bunch of connection to that. And I think that like it's hard finding someone in Melee who cares about Melee and who like does not just like go gaga over Genesis. And because of that, you have people who are like willing to dump all of their time into making anything crazy happen. Which, hey, if like people love Genesis enough to watch 90 games of Crimson Blur, then maybe there's beauty in that. Maybe we'll write a Melee stats video about that, and you can like talk about the human condition.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would write. Yeah, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Like I don't want to like mythologize the tournament series too much because I think that's like not exactly on the mark. But I think that there's something so weird about how Genesis is just like an amazing tournament every single time. And I think that that's like a large part of why like people are doing this whole Genesis effort, because like I think like literally every single top 8 for every Genesis that has ever happened has been like a high key banger. Like a lot of the most memorable top 8s ever are just like filled with the different Genesises.
And the fucking grand finals of one of them was Pikachu Puff.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you can say that and it's like still true.
I mean, like the best grand finals of all of them was a Peach Puff set. So,
Yeah, true.
like, I think it's like, it's just kind of like a ridiculous story tournament. And I think that like, it would be kind of hard pressed to like, to have so much of the community care about any other tournament series. Like, there's no way we do this for like Evo. Like, we lost Evo and we're like, yeah, sure. I guess we're not going to Vegas anymore. That's kind of sad. But you know, I think there's something about Melee players and loving this particular tournament series. So like, if the Genesis brand went under, it would just be the most tragic thing that's ever happened to the community. So
Yeah.
that's sort of my perspective on it. It's just like the best tournament series there is, really.
Yeah, I think that's the part of like when you ask me like why, it's like it wasn't even really a question, you know? It was like, okay, shit, we need to do this now. Like, all right, how many days is it from now? Okay. Well, who do we need to contact that's like immediately needed? It's like, oh, that's a long list. All right. We're getting the gang back together. I think that was the funny part about like resurrecting the 5-Dom team. It was like, it kind of felt like an 80s movie where it's like, all right, guys, we're going to take over the world again, but it's the sequel. But then you're like going to the old cast and some members are like, no, not just again. Like, not like after what it did to me.
Working in like an airship hangar, just like cranking like a wrench. And it's like, I said the last time was my last.
Yeah. And then you get like, you know, 30 minutes into the movie and then they show up and they're like, oh, you're in the content Discord now. Yeah.
They just jump out of a helicopter. What's up? It's me.
Looking for some help. Yeah, no, it's there's something that I talk about with some people. Actually, you know what? Funny time for a name drop. I talked about this with a bunch of people individually, but I also talked about this with Nick from the Yard. just to boost our SEO engagements somehow. Is that I talked about the idea of like Melee being this weird like machine that morphs people in ways that they don't really understand. I'm not like an organized person. I am not like, I don't know. I'm not very productive. And then Domino meme is like, oh yeah, I used to play Kirby in this game. This is cool. Like, I wonder, let me look up videos of it on YouTube. And like, I literally think that the way my brain operates in terms of like allocating hours into stuff is like completely different. I've always been obsessive, and I think that's something that a lot of people in Melee have in common. There's reasons why Anoke and I can, or Edwin Budding and I can talk about like 2007 NFL for like 2 hours straight. It's because there's like a common obsessive streak that runs through a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty insane. Like the way that Melee kind of like sneakily changed my like motivations and like the way that I want to have productive time. I've talked about it with some people who like leave Melee on the back burner, or you know, who eventually just leave Melee, and it's the idea of just like, okay, well, I got off my 8-hour job. You know, I'm gonna sleep for 8 hours soon, but I've just got 8 hours open. What do I do with 8 hours? And it's like, the Melee idea is like, okay, I just got done with 8 hours of job. Now it's time to do 8 hours of this unpaid Melee job. And it's like this insane thing that I think that I would not have expected that just like, you know, the first time I watched an Armada Mango set or whatever like clicked in my brain and got me into Melee. I would not have expected to get that way, but I think that you know, that idea, that like fever that we all have for like, just like, okay, you know, I barely have any free time, but I've got 4 hours before I need to fall asleep, so I might as well devote this all to Genesis. I think that is just like emblematic in the entire team.
Yeah, Melee just fucks with your brain. It's like you go to it and you see it for the first time and you're just like, oh, like why would I, like you know, a normal thinking human, go to my first tournament and be like, cool, I'm gonna host my own tournament and just like consistently lose a bunch of money because I love these people. And it's just like, damn, it just hits you different.
It's a drug.
Yeah, so
it's a drug, but it's, instead of like, you know, ending up on the streets or something, it usually gets someone a pretty decent job.
It's like
Yeah.
you know there's like a brain worm that cat owners get sometimes that like it makes them want to get more cats so they can get more of the brain worm or whatever. I feel like that about Melee, where it's
That's
like
crazy.
you play Melee and you're like, this is cool, and then like you get the Melee brain worm and like suddenly all your free time is spent like supporting the infrastructure of this internet community. It's like, oh god, what happened?
And then you get like some asshole on Twitter, like some egg, just gets like mad at something, and then you're like, God, I wish I could give this up. I'm getting yelled at for putting like 20 hours of work into something, and I cannot stop.
I also think it's something that we just like constantly like we've just lived with the whole time, just like this game and this community. Can I derail us for a second and talk about something?
Yeah.
All right, so
we have been derailed, so continue.
Perfect. All right, so I worked DreamHack Anaheim for Halo series, which is a very cool event, kind of like Halo's return to DreamHack. Shout out Matt.Zeb. You're the reason I've gotten every opportunity in my life. I appreciate it, bud. But it's very cool, and I was the head of bracket for it. And at one point during a drunken night with one of the TOs from their side, I was basically like talking about it, just like mad at him almost. I was like, why do you have locals, man? And just like drunkenly doing it, and like he basically like broke it down to me to where he's like, all right, dude, the computer that we play on costs this much, the monitor that we play on costs this much, you need this, and this, and then that's one setup, and then you need to times it by 10 in order to have a full thing. And I was like, oh, I've never thought about the fact that a Wii costs $10 and a CRT is free more in this moment. And I don't know, I just like continuously have thought about that, just like being checked from another community where it's like, shit, yeah, you can't run a tournament. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's funny. The Wii doesn't even need to be working.
Yeah, it's gonna be broken, dude. It's fine.
I just need a Wii there. It doesn't matter what it does. It just needs to be present. Yeah, I definitely think that, you know, this is kind of like a weird topic to talk about in wake of last time. You know, GenAssist is you know, has its own specific reasons as to why this charitable event is happening for this tournament. Obviously, it's because the pandemic had to be pushed back. But it's interesting because the last time we did an event like this, 5 Dom was completely different. It was Nintendo shutting down one of our biggest series. Like, they're probably the only grassroots series that we have that's anywhere close to Genesis, which would be Big House. Obviously, a lot of great series that would be in that realm as well, but I think that those two kind of stand above. So it's an interesting thing to talk about, right? It's like in between the last time we had something like this, our relationship with Nintendo has at least on the surface changed. And who knows, you know. I don't have any information to say it's good or bad. I have truly no information. But yeah, it's this interesting thing of like, we for the entirety of our time in the scene, it's just like, okay, yeah, if we don't run this, we're not having tournaments. And like time. I don't think that other scenes, there's a lot of scenes that are blessed in ways where like they don't have to think about that because you know, Blizzard wants people to play Overwatch, so they want people to go to or like watch Overwatch tournaments or, you know, whatever they call them, games. I don't know. So they'll set it up. And it's not the same for Melee. Like, Nintendo for 20 whole years did not really need Melee to survive for them to to like, you know, get any profits. So I think that there's this like backbone of the community where it's not even a question. It's like, yeah, dude, it's like, I don't really care about, I don't like, if you ask me beforehand, hey, do you want to devote like this many hours of your time for very little money? Like, if you told me that in 2014 when I joined the scene, you know, like someone had like the contract written out and it's like, okay, you're gonna make 2 cents an hour basically. and it's gonna be like 20 hours a week.
But you're not gonna get a paycheck for the first 2 years.
Yeah. It's like, no, I don't think I would sign in on that. But yeah, I mean, Melee warps your brain in a way that like, dude, you don't understand when you just like when you learn that Fox and Falco can jump out of Shine. It's like that's the moment. You don't realize it when it happens, but you're like, oh, this is cool. I can like do something right after, and then in your brain, the brainworm is like growing, and it's like, okay, now we will make video content about this in 5 years.
Yeah. But no, Genesis has been a ride. Obviously, it's been in the works for at least about a week before launching. But I think, I don't know, it was just cool. There's always a thing before you launch where just like thinking about the worst commenter. I'm sure you guys get it every time with every YouTube video.
Big time.
It's like, all right, what are they gonna say? You know, what is that one person gonna say that's just gonna strike your nerve and it's gonna break you? And you'd be like, can't respond.
It's never what you expect to. Like, I remember for the Nintendo video, we were like so afraid we were gonna get these like psycho Nintendo shrills talking about how we like need to move on or whatever. And we didn't get many of those. We just got people that were like mad at us for talking about COVID. They're like, COVID's fake. Oh my God. No, stop. This was not the point of the video.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Nintendo sucks and all. I get that, but like, COVID's not real. So I don't know what you're talking about. You had me until you brought up COVID.
Exactly. That was my breaking point. To derail just a second. Our last video, we were like, everyone's gonna say this, and I won't say what this is, but it's pretty clear. And we were like, we should put like a little disclaimer in the video, and it became decisions like, it'll just get more comments if we don't, and that's kind of just fine. Like, it's not like this is a huge deal, and we were like, fuck it, let's just do that. It's like, you can see our opinion here. All right, cool, moving on. I was happy about that.
But yeah, you were saying that, you know, you get to this point. We are in like the twilight. I don't want to call it the Twilight Zone. we were in the Twilight area before this event, where it's like it's dusk, or it's dawn, to be very poetic about it. The events, you know, it's not happening just yet, but like everything is set up. It's the calm before the storm, even though it's not calm. But yeah, so like you're mentioning this idea of like anticipating the worst thing that someone could say.
Oh yeah, that is what I was saying. But I'm happy to say that just didn't happen. Everyone was like, yeah, sick idea. And I was like, shit, we're gonna be posting on the Melee at Me account. Like, there's just gonna be trolls somewhere. You know, we're posting on Reddit. Like, what could they possibly say? And just everyone's like, yeah, cool idea. Can't wait to watch. I'm just like, cool, awesome, sweet. That feels great. And that's the motivation to keep moving forward, right?
Yeah, it's I think that I don't know if you feel this way. I don't know if the Allston camp has the same like brain disease that Melee Stats does, but it's just like definitely this to various different degrees, but like this incessant need to put something out there, but also like and have people watch, but also like not affect someone negatively. like
yeah.
It's like okay, if this video, we need to put this video out, because if this video doesn't get made, then it sucks. And then if this video comes out and it doesn't get a lot of views, then that sucks and we failed. But also if we get one negative comment, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe this is me. I think I feel this way more than other people in Melee Stats and other people in the Melee content sphere. So I don't want to talk about, I don't want to speak for anyone else when I say this, but it's just like, sometimes you see numbers tick up and it's like scary in a way. And it's like, ooh, that's kind of high. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, totally.
And it's gratifying when that number ticks up and you don't get the hateful comments. It's something that's pretty crazy. And when it actually happens, it's weird. Yeah, and it's a great feeling. Yeah, Ambi, I don't know if you are neurotic in the same way I am. I think you're neurotic if not, you're neurotic in a different way.
It's kind of a tangent version of this. I'm definitely very neurotic about this type of stuff. But I don't know. For me, it's like about saying the thing you want to say more than it is about like the quality of like how many views it gets or whatever. Like that stuff's really nice, but for me, it's like, what if they don't agree with what I have to say? Like that's the thing that bugs me. It's like not the like, oh, I didn't really like this video, but like the like, no, this video says something that's like wrong. I'm like, no, it's not. Fuck you. This is what I'm trying to say. This is I think a little bit closer to what I imagine GenAssist is like for you, Patty, where it's just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck if we make some people mad, as long as like people understand that this is a thing that we're doing and that it's important or whatever.
I guess I was coming from the place where it's like, hey, big platform means more eyes, means a lot of eyes gonna see this thing, and it's like, all right, well, there has to be them. That has to happen. You know, there has to be shitters in the replies, and it's just like a thing to where it's like you can't really be mad about just like just like trying to come back. But no, on the comments thing, like I think I don't really get mad about a lot of like the responses. A lot of times, even like they can be viciously mean. The thing that I get pissed off about is when someone is super pity about something that happened like 19 minutes in. It's like, bro, you watched for 19 minutes. Are you like, come on, you're not gonna give me a single bit of credit here to
like,
where
wow,
you watched
just like
this
the video,
for 19 minutes.
Song at the credits was dumb.
Bro, I'm 4 minutes off of a SpongeBob episode. Like, give me some fucking credit here. Like, that's the thing that really gets me.
I love that though. Personally, that's like my favorite. We had one guy that was like mad the entire video because he was like, "This is just a ripoff of John Boy's videos. Like, I can't believe they just did that." And he watched the whole damn video and he read the credits. And in the credits, we're like, "Thank you for the inspiration, John Boys." And he was like, "Oh, they did credit him." I was mad the whole video.
That changed everything for me.
Yeah, it was like an edit, right?
Yeah,
it was like you guys just you guys ripped him off, and then it was like edit. Oh, never mind. I watched till the end. Good work. Obviously this is pretty tangential to the whole thing, but I mean, I think that in a way, it speaks to the creator like aspect of Melee that we kind of talked about. The idea of just like wanting to devote your life to Melee, I think, is very similar to like any content creator, and that's kind of part and parcel with like wanting to run an event like GenAssist, right? It's all part of the same like weird like way of thinking, like TO, content creator, all that type of stuff. And it's the like the fear of the unknown for me. It's like when the video first comes out and there's no comments yet. That's when I'm most worried, because all the comments that come in that like are negative, I'm like find them funny. I'm like, yeah, dude, you did not get it. Michael versus Bananas to this day will all like a 1-to-1 ratio. We'll get new comments that come in, and it's just like they don't get it. they'll be amazing video. This is so good, and then the next comment will be like, wobbling's dumb. I can't believe you won it legal. Horrible video. And then another one will come in and it'll be like, it's like, dude, I can't believe you hate ice climbers. This video sucks. Wobbling should be legal.
There was a comment that we got that we wanted to frame that was, your opinions are dog shit, but your videos are really good. I was like, that's so sick. You got it,
hey,
bro.
that rocks.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's
well,
awesome.
Patty, we're talking about GenAssist. Somehow, it's like the through line is GenAssist. Obviously, we're having this great conversation. I like to be able to pick your brain on this because sure. I think the content sphere that we have, obviously we've had Walt Raider on before, but it's like interesting to talk to all the different people in the scene and like get their ideas on what we all go through. Mm-hmm. But the reason for the season, we're here for GenAssist. Do you want to talk about the show matches? We have some that we announced, some of the real spicy ones obviously are going to be announced in between now and the event, but just like this is for all intents and purposes, this is like a prediction, like stat based podcast as much as we stray from that, and I think that like it's fun to give thoughts on these sets. So let's run down the sets that we have. Do you want to name off some sets that we'll have, and we can kind of go into what we think might happen?
Yeah, absolutely. The only two that I didn't mention previously was we'll have King of the Cube, which has not have announced who will actually be on there. I will say it's a double header, so there will be two different ones.
Gatsu is the reigning champ, so exactly. No matter what, we'll see a challenger try to take the crown away from him.
And then ending off the day, like any good Melee broadcast should, we have Mango versus Zayn.
And Mango versus Zayn is on what day is that?
That is Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern time, the correct time zone.
So that's after Saturday LACS. That's after the LACS sets. We'll see some sets as well. And Mango Zayn, insane. Let's go through it. So you mentioned Lord Silent Spectre. Abby, what are your thoughts on this one? This is like I think the funny thing is that usually we're set to talk about stuff because Edwin's like, all right, I analyzed the last 17 sets Grab played versus Ben, and I'm like pretty confident that he's going to get at least 2 games, but I think Ben's going to sneak through. We're talking about stuff that we have not seen in years, if we've ever seen it, or stuff that we've just like never seen. I think the sets here run the gamut from like we are going to see some more common melee stuff throughout the weekend, but like definitely some weird ones. So I know this is kind of like throwing you into the deep end, but like what could a Lord Silent Spectre set look like in the year of our Lord 2022?
Yeah, no, I think this is very exciting to me personally, because I am of the belief that Lord is the single most underrated player in the entire game's history.
Crazy.
I think he is disgusting. I am curious what controller he will be using to play this set, though.
Yeah.
Because I think that informs my opinion a bit here. Because I know that Lord plays a lot with keyboard these days, and I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if he'd be better with a keyboard but won't be able to get one. I'm not sure if he would be worse with the keyboard but still plays it. There's a whole I have no idea. I think for me, like that's the really unknown component to me.
Yeah.
Like, has he lost all of his GameCube controller muscle memory from playing on keyboard? Is he going to be allowed to play on a keyboard? Like, just like a bunch of shit. But in terms of like how good Lord is, like, you guys aren't fucking ready. Like, Lord is so sick. So all else being equal, I think I have Lord, but there's a lot of asterisks. He's a very mysterious player.
Do you guys know when the last time Silent Spectre played Melee was?
It was probably a Genesis.
Yeah, he lost to Icy at the last Genesis, I thought, right?
Really?
So he just consistently enters Genesis?
Yeah, I mean, it's like really close to him, right? I don't think he like does anything else.
I don't think he's in the Bay Area anymore, but
I know he lives with Silent Wolf.
Yeah.
So he's in PNW now, I think.
He's in the Silent House.
Yeah.
He lives with Silent Wolf? Oh, dude, Silent Spectre. Let's go. I'm taking Silent Spectre. Are you serious?
There's a couple great things about this set. And like base level, right? This is a Falcon Ditto. And just like 0 IQ, Falcon Dittos are cool. I'm not sorry. So like base 0. I'm not saying you have to be dumb to think Falcon Dittos are cool.
You are like an idiot.
It's like the first level, Falcon Dittos are cool. I agree. I think it's going to be cool because of that. Second level, it's NorCal. Cool. This is super cool. And then you get into stuff that you guys talk about. Silent Spectre lives with one of the greatest melee players of all time. And Lord, I remember when Lord first, I heard about him playing on a keyboard. And the world has changed in so many different ways since then. Where I'm like, maybe that's better than a GameCube controller.
This is what I'm saying, right? Like it actually is just very confusing.
He was just onto something.
He really
like,
was.
When that came out, right? He was on the reads or whatever. Obviously, people had known about that before. It wasn't like a big official announcement, but I remember people saw that on the reads, and that was like a very funny thing. And I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, this is pretty dumb. Yeah, it's like this dumb thing that he does to like handicap himself because he's so good. And now we have box players who are really, really good. And it's like, okay, he might just be better. Like, this might be the smartest thing that he could do. So I have truly no idea. And also, I want to give you a little glimpse. Patti and I have obviously been kind of like pulling back the curtain a little bit as much as we can. I don't want to take all the credit for all those show matches that were brainstormed. There's obviously, we had a little brainstorm between me, Ambi, Edwin was there, Dark Genix was there, and obviously other people who are in GenAssist were throwing ideas around. But when I brought up Lord and Silent Spectre, as well as a bunch of other matches, people like looked at me pretty side-eyed. And some information that I think is really funny is that I brought this up to a couple different people, and I got the same thing said to me for both people. I'd have people say, Yeah, Lord should be down. I think he still plays a lot, but I don't think Jeff plays anymore. And then I have other people saying, like, does Lord want to play? I thought he hasn't played in forever. I know Jeff's active, so I don't know what's true. I don't know who still plays. I don't know if they both play. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty sick. Dude, I remember Silent Spectre. I don't remember the last time he played before he played at Genesis 3, I think it was. You know, obviously this is like 6 years old at this point, but I think he beat Gatsu there. Like, I remember he like did really well. And then at Genesis 4, I think he did pretty well as well. Just like this weird thing of he would only go to that tournament and he just like still was good. Obviously what we've seen in the past 5-6 years has been this like huge uptick, but also, Lord has not been playing much in the past 5-6 years, so I don't know what to say. I think Lord is a great answer. I have to go Silent Spectre. Ambi, I know you're Lord. Patty, are you Silent Spectre as well?
I am.
Okay. Whoever wins, I think the audience wins. I think that one's sick. What do we got next? Is the next one Leo Spargo?
NorCal versus SoCal. Do you have the list? Ready?
Should we reveal? I know there's
That's a good point, Wheat.
there's some favorites.
You know what? You ready? I'm gonna flip a coin.
He's flipping.
Let's not reveal.
Heads we reveal.
No.
All right, it's tails. It's tails.
Okay,
it's
cool.
tails. It's tails.
I've leaked stuff on the show before, which is
not
leaking.
mine to leak. This is an announcement show. What are you talking about?
I leaked Smash World Tour pools on this, which is not my ability to leak.
Neat.
Hey, it happens. What do they do about it?
NorCal versus SoCal.
NorCal versus SoCal. There's a lot of the killers that you'd expect. I'll say, okay. Johnny's out. He's not playing. That's the. I'll give you who's not playing. But most of the other people are in. What do you guys think? Just like in general. Like what the SoCal versus NorCal dichotomy, I think, has always been really funny. And we're kind of getting to a point where, like, yeah, dude, NorCal was kind of anchored by this big three, and now we see Shroomed is not as in practice as others. We see also Shroomed is not involved. I swear, these are so sick.
I'm sure.
And the people who are, I tell you, those two players are not in it. But yeah, it's like there's the trifecta of like Pew Pew, SFAT, and Shroomed, and well, now Shroomed is not really to the top 10 level that he once was. Pew Pew obviously has retired, and SFAT is on his way to another peak, right? Like, this is maybe not the same peak that he was when he was beating HBox, but it's pretty damn close. So it's kind of weird to see that, and then look at SoCal where Johnny's not playing. Lucky's not as good as he once was, but still pretty good. He is still like top 20, top 25, always a threat to go off at a tournament. Wes, who knows?
I think I have SoCal. I'm just trying to remember the PR drama that happened recently. So,
between Fiction
between
and Face Roll.
there's all sorts of shit going on there. But I'm trying to remember that list, and it seems pretty stacked. So I think I'm going to go with SoCal. I think that they are going through a bit of an interesting period. I don't know if I'd call it like a renaissance, but I think Fiction's Falco is very interesting. And
they've always been good at like just the old guard has always given to the new guard very, like, there's always been a quiet transition of power. Like very peaceful passing the torch, because what we're seeing now is not what we saw in 2014, even though a lot of the same players are still like would still be considered top 5 in the region or whatever. But Kudoran is amazing. Kudoran is someone who would not, be top 5 in the region pre-pandemic, and now we have Face Roll's amazing. Fiction's Falco. Like there's all these different things.
It's so weird to think about Fiction's Falco, because I don't think that I would consider it as strong as his Fox, although it is getting there. But the weird thing about Fiction's Falco to me is I think that people from SoCal are going to get a lot better versus Falco.
Yeah.
because I think Fiction plays a type of Falco that you need to know how to beat Falco to beat, rather than just like be able to beat the particular Falco that you're playing. I had this huge problem with this when I moved out of Connecticut, because I realized that I actually didn't know how to play against Falco. I just knew how to play against the Connecticut Falcos, because they all just like had their own things. I feel like I'm very optimistic about the SoCal squad, just because Fiction goes to all the Verdugos and like plays everyone all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if NorCal has a Falco. I can't remember off the top of my head. But at least, projecting their performances through time later, I think that it's a very interesting addition to the dynamic of SoCal right now. That's really my only input.
I'm gonna say it because you aren't. The Falcon that they had to beat was West Balls, and in order to beat West Balls, you kind of need to beat West Balls and not defeat like the Falco. Like we saw people who weren't really incredibly great versus Falco and would beat West Balls, and we saw people who are really good versus Falco and lose to West Balls. But yeah, I think like Fiction is this type of it's this thing that Ambi talks about sometimes, and it's like you can tell what someone like really hates when they pick up a different character, and like it's very, very funny because Fiction is just like, must have been for years being like, damn, I hate the fact that Falco could do this, and he's like, wait, I can just pick Falco and do this, and I think he's been like really good at just being like, yeah, well, why wouldn't I do like 4 lasers in a row? What am I going to do? It's not a good position for me. Why my character can jump in one full hop, can jump so high. You don't want me to do that? I love listening
to Fiction talk about Falco, dude. It's so clear that he thinks Falco is so broken. He's like, dude, I just win every matchup for free. I don't even have to try. It's like,
and he'll lose
forever.
He'll lose stuff, and he'll be like, Falco's so broken that shouldn't have been even close. Like
it's really on me that I lost though.
Yeah, it's amazing. He lost to Kadoran, and he was like, well, Falco beats Marth, but I'm just not there yet to do it against Kadoran all the time. Like one of the most lovable character switches of all time, where he's just like, he'll lose, and he's like, mea culpa, that was on me. I'm not blaming my character. I didn't play well enough, which is something we don't see very often.
Very rare.
You know what? I'm going to go... I think that just, like, activity and top players, I think SoCal has this. I'm going to be fun. I'm going to say NorCal. I think SFET's super good right now. I think they've got some people who are, like, very consistent. I don't know. I guess I'm, like, kind of leaking some of this, but, like, Spark and Keizu are people who I don't think you think of as like super explosive, and it's like, are any given point, are they going to make a run to 5th at Genesis or something? It's probably not really going to be in the cards for them, but also something where if you give them a bunch of brackets, I think they do really well at all of them. And despite the fact that Spark got went 0-4 in pools at Smash World Tour, I think that they all have like pretty good.
His pool's hard.
Like levels.
It's like not his fault.
He ran into Chape. Unfortunately, Chape was just on a tear. But yeah, it's like they've all got pretty good base levels, and I think that in a crew battle where you really have to just play one, basically like one game, give or take, might be more stocks, might be fewer than normal. But like that ability to just have a good level, like base level, and have like pretty solid matchup spread goes pretty far. And I think that that's how I would categorize like the SFATs, the Keizus, the Sparks. I think they all have solid matchup spreads where I don't think they have instant wins, and I don't think they have instant losses. And I think that like that type of thing, that's very helpful.
What do you think,
Patty, what do you think?
You gotta break the tie.
Yeah.
I think ultimately when you break it down, the lineups are pretty even. But that said, I think if NorCal wins, SoCal OGs will viciously make fun of the SoCal squad on Twitter. And that's about how I see it, honestly. Like, I just think that I think SoCal
can play better or worse. I'm sure they'll all be afraid of this.
I think it depends on the player. I'm interested how Kadoran would do with the fear of Mango shit talking him on Twitter immediately after, or even during his gameplay. Just being able to see that 1-to-1. But I think most, they're a top player. They do well under pressure. At least most of them. But yeah, I think SoCal dub. SFAT goes home sad. We're all sad because we're like, damn, I like SFAT. He didn't win that time. Damn.
Mango tweets that he's not going to say anything mean, and it's like, okay, well, why'd you tweet that in the first place? It's like,
yeah, and then says something
like
really
weird.
And goes LMAO.
Definitely some weird vibes all around that come from that, but hey, it's all good fun for most people. So, all right, let's talk about Leo versus Spargo. I don't know how much we can like bring prior examples.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna go Spargo. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and like talk about how I think they'll play because I've got no idea. I think Spargo does play more, and I think that if you know anything about Ultimate, which I've been able to like, as we love Ultimate. I think like yeah. So hey, sometimes it's something to have on. It's like Stock Money and I will talk about this sometimes because like he'll know random stuff about like Smash 4 and Ultimate, and it's just like. It's like a methadone, right? Like sometimes it's just it's a thing that's just there. It's like if Melee is heroin, then Ultimate or like Smash 4 or something, it's like no, it's not. Yeah, it's just like it'll like take you down. But then you get addicted to that. So I've seen a few. I've seen a little bit of Ultimate.
One hell of a tangent.
The idea behind this is that Spargo he's definitively second in the world without winning a major over Leo. Several people in 2021 have won majors over Leo. I mean, not a ton, but just like it's happened before. And that does not include the definitive number 2. Spargo just like gets to last stock, game 10. And like he'll be up, and then Leo will just like do the most insane comeback, and he'll win. And it's like something where Spargo will be like mid% 2 stocks, and Leo will be like 1% or like a high percent 1 stock, and you'll be like, okay, I think Leo has this. And so for that reason, I'm going Spargo because I think it'd be hilarious if like he defeats his demon, but it just happens to be in the wrong game.
The way I see this set, it's like betting on horses without any information as to what horse does, like what their ranking is or whatever the hell horse races are. Like it's impossible to know. You're just going into it blind. I hope people side bet on it because I think it'd be funny.
That'd be so much fun to side bet.
If just a bunch of Melee players are just side betting on MK Leo versus Spargo.
It's like that meme of the two of the pirates around the 2 monkeys fighting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I have no idea what's gonna happen, but I think the more we speculate, the more fun it is.
Do you have the coin flip thing still up?
Yeah, what does the coin say?
Heads MK Leo.
We must. Yes. Yeah. Tails Spargo.
Tails, bro.
Oh,
dude.
The Spargo upset finally happens. He wins the most important victory of his life over MK Leo.
All right,
at Genesis.
So here's my perspective on this. So I think Spargo is definitely very clearly favored, but I'm going to use my very funny trolly insider information, where I'm fairly certain that Spargo is going to play Marth and that Leo will probably play Sheik. And I think Spargo versus Edwin Budding would be a really fun match.
That's what we should have done. That's what we should have done.
Given that we have very many, sets recorded of Edwin Budding playing Sheik players, there's one in particular I want to mention who is our good pal Atrioc, who Anouk once played at a big house, and Atrioc won like 30 games in a row against Edwin, and then Edwin picked Sheik and then like started beating Atrioc with Sheik, and then like paused the game and got mad at Atrioc for playing Sheik and being like, I can even beat you with your own character. Stop playing this character. He just mauling furiously at Atrioc, who had no idea what was happening. So I think that there's definitely a world where a Spargo level Marth main just like loses to a Sheik player.
I cannot. Dude, Edwin, I can't believe he did this. He's like, I'm not allowed to like the wrong tweet, or else it's bad for the Melee Stats brand. Like, if I like the wrong tweet, I get added. And he's like, you must unlike this. What if we get canceled for liking this? And then he's able to just like berate a top content creator, and this is not bad for our brand somehow. He's like able to just yell at someone. He'd like see Hassan and just like push him on the street. Actually, if he pushed Hassan, he'd like Hassan wouldn't move. Okay, he's allowed to like throw a glass bottle, Hassan, but I'm suddenly not allowed to, like, you know, if I like the wrong tweet, Melee Stats' brand is gone. I can't believe he yelled at Atria.
Yeah, no, I just like can't even imagine what that must have been like. Because Anouk told me about this afterwards. He was like very proud of the fact that he yelled at Atrioc. It was directly from him telling me this story.
He brags about yelling at people, or like
raging.
how he would yell at people in situations. If that were me, they'd get fired.
I would yell at them before firing them and then fire them. I love that guy though. Shout out to Edwin Budding.
A
So,
real
yeah,
one.
I think Leo might have it.
Yeah, I'm taking Leo.
All right, sick. Well, we're at 2-2, because I say Spargo, the coin says Spargo. So,
That's fair. Yeah.
undecided. Tie is not broken. All right, what else do we got on the? What else we got?
We have Slime versus Blur.
And this, there were a couple of fun ideas that were thrown around, but I think that what we're running with is just a first to 5. I know that they've done stuff in the past where it's, man, I don't know if you guys know more than I do, because I'm blanking on the exact specifics, but it's like the idea of Slime needs to take 20 games off of Blur in a row. They've
I
done
can
that
tell
before.
You about this. I looked into this recently.
Please do.
Yeah, so Slime and Blur were arguing about who is good or bad at the game. And like, you know, Blur's like, yeah, I'm the best to ever do it ever. And Slime is like, no, you're not, bro. I'll literally win 20 games in a row against you. And if I lose even a single game, I'll have to put I'm worse at Melee than at the Crimson Blur in my Twitter bio. And Blur's like, okay. And then they money matched on stream. And Slime won the first 2 games. And then he started like doing moonwalks and shit, trying to like offstage knee. And just like kills himself twice. And then like loses in game 3 of 20.
Rough.
And then has to put worse than at the Crimson Blur in his bio. So in a true first to 5, I think I have faith that Slime will not begin the offstage knees until at least game 4, but I could be wrong.
By that point, he might already have a formidable lead. Yeah, I don't know. They're both homies for doing this. Blur thinks that he was set up for different things in GenAssist. He believes that he's the patsy, and yeah, I don't know. He very well could be.
I'm down.
It's not
game.
It's not planned. He's not planned to be the patsy, but he might just kind of like fall into that role.
It just happened.
It's like that just might be how Melee works, right? It's like, hey, dude, we didn't plan on this, but if the shoe fits. So this, I think, is a really funny one. Blur, from what I've heard, does play a lot of Slippy. I don't believe Slime plays a lot of Slippy.
He does. He streamed it and stuff.
He streamed it. I don't know.
He probably plays less than Blur, but I wouldn't say that he doesn't play. And he has like
I don't
Aiden
think
in the house and stuff. So
I wouldn't say he doesn't play. I'm just saying I don't know if he's on the grind.
yeah, that's fair.
And so Blur would be more on the grind, you know, to whatever degree. But Blur also came on the show and talked about how he had played Kata, the Samus, and was like able to realize what was happening and not stop himself from adjusting. It was something like Kata would like shoot these like missiles, whatever it was. It was he would shoot these like really annoying low missiles, and just kept getting shield poked or whatever. And then Toph, who was also on the show, was just like, "Yeah, you can just jab the missiles." He's like, "I know, and I wasn't doing it." Or what? It was the is there something like a non-power shieldable missile? Ambi?
Well, I know that you can
Or
use
like one that's really hard to power shield?
Well, yeah, you could. There's that for lasers, and I imagine that it might be the same way for because Mirth's shield bubble is really weird.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of lasers that you can do that are not power shieldable. I know like the super nerds, like the SP99s of the world, are doing the ADT power shield against that because it
Yeah.
does work for that.
Maybe is it crouch power shielding? Maybe there's like a missile that you
Crouch
can't
power
crouch
shield
power shield.
is something that works with Marth because if you crouch and then shield, it doesn't have your shield bubble at the bottom. It like instantly teleports it up, so it can just be like over your head, and there's like a 15 frame window or whatever to power shield things. So it's really good versus Samus to do crouch power shield, but I don't think you can really do that versus a low missile, which is a.
I think that's what was happening. Was that
Yeah.
he was Kato was putting missiles out that were not able to be crouch power shielded, and he understood this. Blur understood this, like first missile, and then kept trying to do it, and was like not able to stop himself from doing it. So that little Blur brain, as much as it moves around and like as hard as it works, I'm not sure if the Blur fingers are able to put it into play. So I will go Slime on this one. Patti, if you want to go Blur, you can throw that coin in there as well. So you're not. We're already up 2-0 on Slime, but if you want to have someone on your side, that coin is available.
I think you guys are looking at this from the wrong way. Okay? I think that so you know this hypothetical scenario of aliens come down to Earth and they want to like play melee. It's like who do we put them against? Like HBox or whatever, you know? I think this is that. Like Blur is the aliens and we've just selected Slime. And we just have to ride or die with Slime. So you can either chant for the world or you can chant for the world to die. And, you know, I respect you either way, ultimately. But I think I still wanted to live on this earth for a little bit longer. So I am choosing Slime.
It's beautiful. All we can ask for. And then, yeah, in terms of what's already been announced, we're kind of running down to the end of it. We have the kind of the denouement of the entire event is on Saturday that we already mentioned, which was Mango versus Zayn. We're seeing that a lot, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm going to say I think Mango's going to win. He's going to go up 2-1. I think he's going to lose 5-3. Like, my confidence in Mango to beat Zayn in a tournament set, in a set at Summit, in like losers finals or something like that, an elimination set, is pretty high. I'm not about to say that he's going to win every single one, but like, I don't know. I've got faith in Mango in crunch time, and I think that Zayn, I'm not going to call him a choker, but I think that in those scenarios, Mango has a boost that Zayn does not have in the same way. Now, that being said, first to 5, not as much on the line. He's not going to get eliminated from anything. He's not about to get like third at a tournament for losing to Mango. It's just a set. I think Zayn wins though. Zayn, when he's calm, cool, and collected, it's hard to find someone who's better than him. And Mango does well versus that. Like, he still does well versus Zayn, even in those sets, those like SCL style sets where it's like it matters, but it also kind of doesn't matter the same. So he's still able to do well. But yeah, I go Mango goes up, and we watch as he'll like do really well. He would like in game 4, like he's like about to go up 3-1. And then he like fares off stage by accident. And it's like, okay, it's like whatever. Zayn's at 80, Mango's at 0. It's like tied stocks, it's fine. And then he just he dies, and that's immediately turns the tables for the entire set. So yeah, I'll say Zayn 5-3. What are you thinking, Ambi?
Yeah, I think Zayn wins probably 5-2. I think it'll be a really sick exhibition. It'll be really fun to watch. But I think Mango goes for the balls to the wall shit in these types of sets. So I think it'll pretty decisive Zayn victory in my head. What do you think, Patti?
I am not sure if you guys have ever watched Allston Melee content, but I can tell you that if I said anything other than Mango 5-0, no competition, I'd be fired from my role. So I think I'm pretty legally obligated here
That's fair.
to
You're
say
under
it
contract.
won't be
I
a
understand.
competition. And the entire thing will be a combo video. We could play it and it would actually just roll as a combo video if we just put music over it.
We'll put like in the end or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan, honestly. Yeah, I have Juna ready to go with Linkin Park soundtracks.
Just the soundboard.
Yeah, sorry commentators, you're not needed anymore.
Yeah, just like the first moonwalk he does, like 30 seconds in, it's like, cut the comms. Just put on all of Hybrid Theory.
This is DJ X time.
Okay, well, so 2-1. You know, we have Zayn. 2 people say Zayn. One person who says Mango. Do you want to roll that coin?
Oh, I'd love to.
Roll that coin. Do you want to flip it?
Google says.
Well,
Tails.
I guess we didn't establish whose heads and whose tails.
I was thinking Tails was Zayn, so in my brain, I think we can
Okay.
give it.
Oh, okay.
Coin
Mango's
Zayn.
the first option. Yeah, everyone doesn't believe in God anymore, so whatever. We can move on with our lives.
I think the event. You know what? No matter what happens, we've seen some sad sets between Zayn and Mango. There was like that Smash and Splash one. It was like one of the first ones Zayn won, and it was just like, oh, okay. Is that era when it was like Mango would lose and everyone would be like, I guess he's drunk right now.
Yeah, no.
But I think like the sets that we've seen recently have
They've all
been
been
pretty
super
amazing.
Bangers, even the
Yeah,
ones that
exactly.
Mango doesn't win.
So no matter what we see, I think it'll be pretty amazing. But yeah, 5-0. I can't believe Mango's gonna win 5-0. It's insane.
Crazy. When he does, we'll clip this.
We've got a ton more stuff that we obviously is going to be playing, but that's stuff that we will not be able to divulge at the moment.
Can I leak something? Come on.
Leak something.
It's not.
What do you gotta
leak?
leak?
You're the king here,
It's
dude.
announced. I came in here. I said I was going to announce 2 things. The one thing that I will say is that Leffen will be involved in some sort of way. You'll find out how later. So that's a thing.
I cannot wait. Let's talk about something that Leffen might be involved in. We got LICS 4 coming up. This is the 4th iteration of the. I was gonna say the whole title. I don't want to give him the. Ludwig came up with this thing when he was like not a big streamer.
Yeah.
Ludwig Agren Championship Series. Ugh. He's so lucky he made it big. If he did this as like a 500 subscriber guy, okay. But he made it big, and he's giving back to the community. And one of the ways he's giving back to the community is doing a $30,001 tournament, which is this is the first LACS that we've seen that's open bracket. The others have been kind of like qualified invitational events, and it's also the biggest online tournament we've seen, probably maybe ever. Definitely in terms of entrance, this is the biggest online tournament of all time.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of prestige, you probably have to go back to pre-Summit 11 to find anything that's this big. So what do you guys think? We have a 2K entrant tournament in 2022, and I feel like it's kind of gone under the radar in a weird way. Everyone knows that LACS is existing, but everyone is also not really being that like no one's really talking about how big it is. We're not like really in the mindset of we're about to have a 2K person tournament in a week. What do you think about that, Patti?
It's super interesting. I haven't thought of it from the perspective of this is going under the radar. Obviously I've been heads down in work in a completely different aspect of it. But I think it's a fair point to say. I think it's people just being a little bit jaded about online. But I feel like that whole argument is a little bit less relevant when the top players are actually entering this tournament. Like, because I feel like just constantly it's like, all right, cool, I don't want to watch this player win this tournament. I feel like this LACS in particular is a lot less of that. So I think what will happen is people will watch the broadcast and be like, oh, the tournament is on. And it'll click in when that moment happens. But I think in the build up to that, it'll just be like, online tournament. All right, cool. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
be a thing.
I don't really think that online tournaments typically get a lot of hype leading up to them, just like in general. Because I feel like you get like the content bubble cycle of every like big major, like people, oh, gearing up for Genesis, let's go. I have to buy my plane ticket, so I'm already thinking about it like a month and a half in advance, or I guess a week in advance if you're a Smasher and you buy your plane ticket on the last day.
Me.
But I think that no one's really talking about LCS because people that want to enter LCS can do so like in their boxers in their bedroom. And they'll do it once it loads up, and then people will have something to watch, and it'll be sick. It's just weird. I feel like we shifted into this weird Twilight Zone where like the hype events that are like actually real are the ones that are in person, and then like that's not a thing again.
Yeah.
So we're like kind of like adjusting to the being online thing again, but like it's not like the new novel thing the way that it was the first time that online majors started being a thing. So there's like a whole lot of stuff like confounding this particular question. But I think it'll be fine once it starts up. People will attend and watch and stuff.
It's a bit of a microcosm for America at large in how we probably need to take this more seriously than we are. I definitely think that before Summit 11, the online tournaments, it's like, I know people specifically did not care about online tournaments and wouldn't watch, and then got back into Melee through Summit 11, and then, you're onboarded through Riptide and stuff like that. I understand that. But like, it did matter to an extent because it was all we had. So people did care about Rollback Rumble, the big one. People did care about, LACS 2 and 3. Like they were big events that actually kind of matter. Oh, SCL is a huge one. People did care about this type of stuff. And then online stuff started coming back. And what happens is that if you're a player, you're going to really care about offline more. And if you're a person who puts together a tournament, you're going to have some sort of probably revenue stream if you run a major, which you won't be getting through a like online major to the same extent. Even though you don't have to pay for a venue, there's all different things to it. But like basically, if you are going to be in a position of a large TO, it makes more sense to run a in-person major if you can. So that the talent behind a lot of these things have kind of shifted to in-person stuff, and now we're in like an awkward phase where no one cared about online for a while, except for the younger generation. But like if you look at like the tournaments that happened, the gallants and everything, no one was really running tournaments after Summit 11 came back. Summit 11 Riptide, all that type of stuff. Not a lot of people were entering stuff, and now we're in the same spot. And people are kind of still in that mindset of just like, okay, well, I'm waiting for I'm waiting for like LAN events to come back, but they're not entering the online events like they used to. That being said, there's people who are going to this. This is
it does have like 2,000 entrants, right? So
it has 2,000 entrants. I don't know what it's
30K.
going to be after after DQs, but like HBox, he's in everything. SFAT's been a pretty good online person. IBW made a whole big thing about like being serious about net play tournaments because of Omicron. And then we got people who. We got Plup, we have Fiction, we have Axe, Face Roll. Like, these are people who did not take the game seriously online. So it is this kind of weird thing where, like, I don't believe at the moment Mango signed up. I don't believe at the moment Zayn has signed up. And same thing with Leffen. And I don't know if that's going to happen. Regardless, I'm happy to say that there does seem to be content that will feature those three that will be happening this week. But I think that not having those three players specifically kind of puts a dampen on this. If this were a Mango event, he tends to legitimize and like canonize tournaments, especially in the online era. He always does this to an extent, but like there's been big tournaments that don't involve Mango that still are huge. But in the online era, if Mango's not there, if Zayn's not there, it's like your legitimacy without those two is hard to come by. So I think that's kind of what we're running into here. We have a 2K event, a 2K person event that we know is going to whittle down to like 1,200. Still a lot.
You think it'll go down that much? I think that's insane. You think there'll be
You don't
800 DQs? I don't think there'll be 800.
It's free, right? It's free to register.
It's free.
Yeah, I think 40% is fair.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. Whatever it is, it'll still be a huge online tournament and probably still the biggest online tournament. I think I might be making this one up. In my mind, there's one that had 1,600, but that sounds insane. Whatever it is, LACS 4 will be one of the biggest online tournaments in terms of just sheer people who play the game. And like I can't take that away from it, but like still I think they'll have a lot of DQs. But yeah, I don't know.
It's telling us that Zayn and Leffen reg today for LACS 4. So that certainly changes the atmosphere.
Let's go, Wheat. The whole thing you just said is invalidated. Say it again now.
Legitimacy
Better.
achieved.
But there's no mango.
That's true.
True. You saw the point. I think the whole thing is it's just hard to replace the experience of what Genesis would have been. Like we all were like, oh my god, dude, end of January, I'm going to this thing. It's gonna be crazy, and like we all had this.
Yeah, I was
idea
really broken
built
up that we couldn't go. I was like when I decided I wasn't gonna go, I was like, this is so
exactly.
sad. Yeah.
It was more than a bracket, right? That's the difference here.
Yeah, we all either like slowly decided or just like, you know, we're told that you can't go anymore. And then it was just like, oh shit. And I think that was the issue of like, you know, running GenAssist, where it's like, how do we build something that is like a celebration of Genesis? Because I don't think you can necessarily just, you know, throw a tournament broadcast on and that accomplishes that same job. It's like, how do you really celebrate this? I think that's the part where it's hard just for LACS, to where it's like, this needed to happen, like dead ass. Thank you, Ludwig. I appreciate it. Like me personally, but obviously everyone in the community. We needed like a 30K tournament to make it feel like, you know, Melee is still there. Especially for all the people who literally took off work. It's like, yeah, we're providing entertainment for the people who, you know, committed their time to these dates. But it'll never be Genesis 8.
It goes back to what we were saying
that
earlier,
all said,
right?
yeah.
It's like the tournament that everyone cares the most about. So
yeah. And that part's just hard. Like you can't just let go of it. But when we're sitting at home and we see a cool online broadcast come on, we'll maybe feel a little bit better inside.
Yeah.
I do think it's something where once it gets going, it'll get a bunch of eyes on it. I mean, hey, what are you gonna do, right? Like people are still obviously going out and stuff, but I think there's still people who will have time off and will, you know, will be cautious about going out to everything. So maybe they're not like doing a trip on the weekend or something. And because of that, you're stuck inside your house. What are you going to do? Put on Twitch, and then you see this popping off. So you might as well. Ludwig, you know, he's got a huge stream, obviously not on Twitch anymore. But yeah, like I think it's one of those things where maybe it's a slow build. And I want to say I got played, dude. I refreshed Smash GG. I literally pulled it up like right before we went live, and I refreshed it, and now Zayn and Leffen are on. Insane timing. Sometimes you get beat. Hey,
Dude,
Melee's a game of timing.
Real quick, my beef with LACS. Okay? Allston Melee is commentated. LACS 2 and LACS 3. LACS 1 did not have commentators. But we opened up both those streams, and I can say I don't have a DM from Aiden or Slime about commentating for LACS 4. So all I gotta say is that, you know, when shit changed and it became Aiden's job now, it just, yeah.
Dude, we're talking about us being too Hollywood.
Oh, dude, let's not even get into it. I'm just gonna get mad.
It's I don't know. Lud's out here partying with Ninja or whatever. Yeah.
No, I'm honestly, the weird part is like seeing it be incredibly cringe, but you're like also incredibly proud of your friends. It's like, yeah, you almost got your face tattooed on another person's body, but I'm really proud of you, bud.
Slime put this on Twitter, but I did get it beforehand, which makes me feel good. I got it like 3 days beforehand. That made me feel good. But he sent me a video of Nico Lowell, the
Okay Boomer?
The Okay Boomer girl.
I'm so proud of
Okay
you for
Boomer
knowing that.
woman. Sorry. He sent me a video of her, and it was like she was like playing with a dog, and she was like, "Hey Aiden, I hope you're having a nice night." And I was like, God, what's happening here?
That's crazy.
Oh my god, that's
like,
hilarious.
and I was like, why am I getting this?
That's
Yeah,
hilarious,
yeah.
dude.
It's hey, look, when when Aiden is like he's giving the medals at like him and Pokemon are like handing out the Evo medals. When that happens, I'll be happy for it. I'll be like standing outside,
Like in the
like,
window.
looking through the
I was
window of like
there.
Mandalay Bay. But I'll be happy.
I just wish Wizard Hat Aiden could see him now.
Wizard had Aiden, dude. Aiden, there's some old Aidens out there. I found like a high school video project he made about like losing a backpack, and I'm sure, dude, if I found that nowadays, put that out there.
Tons of views, dude. A killer tweet.
It'd be a one good tweet. But yeah, I mean, LACS, like, I think it'll be cool. I think that it kind of answers the questions about online majors, right? There's definitely discourse. It's hard to not have discourse in the Melee scene, it seems like, which is good. It means that we're thriving. If we have discourse, we have a heartbeat, but it's also like really annoying.
I
but
do
the
think it's been a little bit more annoying than usual lately. Speaking as like one of the content like discourse gremlins that's always posting about shit, I do think that the topics recently have been particularly insufferable. It's like, I don't know, does online count? Like what does that even mean, dude? Like we don't have anything else. That's the game. That's what the game is.
Yeah, no, it's this like talk about it is annoying. You're right. It's the same thing that happened with the Aklo Young Link thing. Is that like I was so happy that I did not get involved and didn't look at any tweets. So I was like, I saw some things about the online discourse, but you know, it's the idea about like how much you should take online seriously. How like if you don't take online seriously, it doesn't mean you don't. I don't know.
It's a video game, bro.
We have yeah, it's a video game. It's a video game.
Do you think this is fun?
Even if it's your job, probably most of your job is like being funny man on Twitch TV, and you can do that while playing. But yeah,
$100, dude, he's great at
it.
Yeah.
I think the sick part about discourse in Melee is that now tweets about the discourse in Melee are almost just as annoying about the discourse in Melee, because we've just come so full circle to where at the beginning it was like, yeah, oh shit, I also feel that way. But now it's like, well, no shit, I feel like that. Now you're just making me mad for thinking about it.
Yeah, there's so many layers to it, and you go through it like all these emotions. I don't know. I will say, yeah, I like that people care about online, because the reason why we can still exist to some extent is because of that. I don't think Melee dies if we never have online tournaments, but like I definitely think a world without Flippy looks completely different. And like a world without Rollback Rumble or Rona Rumble back then. There's like the length that this scene did to like make infrastructure for us to be able to do this has kept us like being able to have a 2,000 person tournament. And because of that, I think that online is important, but it's also like, yeah, dude, you can say that and also not care, right? You can say that and say that online does not count as much as offline. You can say that and not play online. I think that there's this weird thing that like being in support of online means that people have to play it, but I don't know.
Some people don't like it. It's fine. That's so
yeah.
Wally. That guy played like 10 hours of net play total in the last 2 years. And he came back and was like, yeah, I'm still good at the game.
I have heard so many things from Wally about he talks to me about his meteoric rise, and he's like, yeah, people don't realize that I actually quit the game for like a year. He's like, so actually my rise, people like think I was playing the entire time, but they have to like chop off a year because I quit. But no, there's a lot of people who like still care about the game, just like prefer to do it offline. And I think there's merit in that. I don't know. I think like how it stems to this conversation is that like I don't think we're seeing online majors to this extent without Ludwig. And I don't think it's reliable to think that like, all right, well, this week we have a $30,000 tournament. I assume we'll have another $30,000 tournament in a month. So are online majors back? I guess the answer to that question is for 1 week. And then
Yeah, fair enough.
hopefully, hopefully whatever we see in terms of COVID makes it so that the idea of online majors doesn't really need to be something that we need to talk about in the zeitgeist. I've said this before. Online tournaments should continue to exist once land comes back. It's a good way of being able to play people from different regions, get experience, and get your name out there, right? If you are like, we all know who Ben is right now, and luckily Ben is in the position where he can like go to a bunch of majors and stuff and prove himself. But like before online, he was just like a 17-year-old in Minnesota, and I don't really think that a lot of people are able to like be 17 in Minnesota and get their name out there to the same extent. So yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe the death of the online major is not the biggest thing in the world if we have offline majors, but the death of the online local is probably what matters more.
Yeah, I think that part at the end's probably the biggest thing. I don't think online majors are dead. I think we'll very realistically come back to them. I think especially if all of the top Melee broadcasters just come to the point where it's like, okay, like we can either host invitationals or online events. I wonder if they'd do the online events. Like I wonder if BTS would really, go full force and do an online thing again, because I feel like they're just like, whatever, we can just do invitationals, we can still exist in this form. So I feel like obviously they're less incentivized than maybe other top platforms. I don't know, maybe VGBC's like, all right, similar thing, or like type deal. But I don't know. I don't think majors are dead. I think Gallant Melee is a great example of just like continuing to just do it and just do it right, and just like do it to the point where you have just like, I wouldn't say fans, but just people who support you to the point where it's like, yeah, gonna enter that tournament every time. It's always great.
And maybe the scale is different, right? We can't expect, maybe major isn't dead, and online majors, maybe they're not dead, but the idea of what we consider an online major might be different. It doesn't mean all the top 10 enters, but it might mean 300 entrants, right? Like, because we see a lot of top players who will not go to stuff, but then we still have Gallant majors and stuff like that. We still have all these tournaments that come around. Pretty good entrants and a few top players. It's not the same people who you'd see in top 8 of Genesis, but it's its own thing. So maybe it's like you got to shift perspective.
I do think that a lot of this stops mattering once ranked comes out.
Yeah.
Like I do think that this is like something looming in the background that is inevitably going to happen. Is, like I think a lot of the tournaments that are run online are they're trying to emulate locals in the sense that they're just a bracket, right? Like, and you run into all these issues where like Mech is in 5 of them and gets DQ'd from 3 of them because he wants to play more than like waiting 3 hours for his next match will allow him to. And like I think, for people that want, like, it's hard to see like the true purpose of smaller online tournaments, like relative to what people want out of the tournament experience, right? Which is like, practice, grind, perform well or whatever. What I'm really hoping more so is that more tournaments start leaning into like the nice things that you can do online that are not really possible in locals. I thought SCL did a really good job at this, where like it felt like a format that was possible because it was online and not just an emulated version of something that would happen offline.
Totally.
And I think that there's definitely a future for events like that, right? Events which like maybe are feeders for IRL tournaments or something like that. Like there's a whole series of possible uses for net play competition. But I think my one, like, roundabout answer here of are online majors back or whatever is I think that they're not going to be back if they're just online versions of offline majors, because like the fun part of the offline major isn't really the tournament. It's like going around and being like, oh shit, it's my friend that I never talked to. I didn't know what you looked like because you're, the guy with the King Crimson avatar. You know what I mean? It's like,
Let's drink 6 Modelo's and go to Denny's.
yeah, that's what the life, bro.
God, take me back. Take me back.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the metaverse gets real popular, and we all go to Genesis in VR and then like throw up in the bathroom of the online hotel, which is actually just our bathroom. I have no idea.
Dream.
I think my biggest qualm with all of the online majors is just the fact that there's really not just established brands for hosting majors like there are for the IRL majors. Like Genesis announced, we're all like, yeah, dude, take my money. I'll see you in San Jose when it happens. Like, I think Deer's doing a phenomenal job with Gallant, but it's just like the fact that like there's not a ton of recognizable brands that just immediately get you to do it. And it was just like, it was a hot potato for a while, even in the online era, in terms of, all right, where are we going now? Like, dude, Four Loko got the bag at one point, and we just all just forgot what happened and woke up in a daze. So I don't know. I just think that there's like nobody's really trying to commit to it because everyone's like, dude, running an online tournament sucks. I don't want to do it, man. Fuck. And then they're just like molding until we can see each other face to face again.
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. It's not as rewarding in a bunch of different senses to run an online major as opposed to an offline major. Some tournaments are like too big to run an online major. Like, I literally don't know. We saw the Big House online get canceled.
Try to do it.
I assume that I have no information that would give me, I'm not leaking anything, but in my mind as a spectator, I would imagine that other tournaments that are the size of Genesis or Big House would be probably not allowed to do the same thing. And also running an online tournament is a similar skill set to running an offline one, but it's not the same thing. And I just don't think that people who've been running like paper brackets for years want to like learn how to run an online tournament. There's no reason to like put time into that and learn the new skill if the new skill is running an online tournament. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Ambi, we've talked about this for almost a year now. We debuted Waiting for Game to coincide with SCL Season 2. And even back then, we agreed SCL is this amazing thing because it is understanding that it is not something you can do in person. It is a mix of stakes and like just creativity that gives it that. And yeah, I agree. If tournaments were to exist, that it's like, even if it's something similar, like the nightclub did the online thing where if you like won, you got a ticket to, or you got like a flight to New York for the function. Obviously not every online TO can swing that, but having some sort of stake, something like that. Yeah, I think that's all that matters. So yeah, our online majors back. I think we're all kind of agreeing on no for different reasons, but yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. But speaking of online tournaments, we do have one that at least is alive and well. Let's talk about someone who just signed up for this. Let's talk about Leffen. What do we think about Leffen currently? Pretty quickly, just like, we can go around. He is someone who last time he was in America was for Summit 11 or Summit 12. Disappointing by his standards, but probably by most standards was pretty damn good. Unfortunately, he got reverse 3-0'd by Wizzy, by IBW, and by Mango. I believe he got 5th place at the tournament. And yeah, like what do you think about him in this pool? We don't have Mango here, it seems, but we have basically every other kind of heavy hitter. We've got Plup, HBox, IBW, and then of course Zayn is here. How do you think Leffen fares in this field? And I guess like in a 2022 that sees him at 10-4, what do you think Leffen looks like? Ambi, you got any thoughts?
I think he's gonna be good. I think he's good. I think I don't know. I try to understand Leffen's headspace when he like sad posts about Europe all the time on Twitter. And I do think that to some extent it's kind of imagined on his part.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure like to him it feels like everyone in Europe sucks and that he's not getting any good practice and he won't be able to like compete at the highest levels because everyone in Europe is so bad compared to him. Like he complains about this constantly, and I know it's very frustrating for the other European players. But like, man, like the people that he's like beating up all the time are like they're pretty fucking good now. You know, like Triff is obviously still quite good.
Yeah.
Like Pip is like beating the shit out of people. Um, Priston is the best player in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that like you know, Leffen came to the States like rusty by his own standards, and he like just won all the sets he was supposed to win, and then got like super. Oh, we lost Patty. Okay, well hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is by his own standards, right? That's the thing that has been kind of going on with Leffen for the past few years. He's a player capable of being number one in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that like he's one of the very few who can say that. And because of that, he tends to measure himself by that. And it's hard to like compete.
Yeah, I think that like he'll just spend some time in the States. He'll get some like practice with people the level that he wants to get practice with, and I think he'll do fine, right? Like it would be difficult for me to like imagine that that Leffen just bombs and like loses to Whiskers or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really think that before. I really thought Leffen was gonna get third at that tournament. He got fifth, which is like not too far off, especially given the way the sets went. I know, like, I've been reverse 3-0'd. It's, like, the worst feeling of all time. Especially, like, the way that he lost that Mango set. That was fucking terrible. But, like, you know, getting reverse 3-0'd means you're up 2-0, right? So, like, there were all these sets that he played where he went up 2-0 against, like, the actual best players in the whole world.
And honestly, we talked about it. I don't want to like put words in his mouth, and I am not in a position that he is in. But I also think that the fact that they were all reverse 3-0s, that's hard. If they're all game 5,
that's very
it's
different.
not a reverse
right?
3-0.
Like, oh, I can't close out sets against good players anymore or whatever, right? But like, it's definitely psychologically damaging. And like, I understood that he was so upset at the end of that tournament, even though like by most people's estimates he performed quite well. But to me, I was like, yeah, Leffen still got it, man. Like, look at those sets. The way that he lost those sets was so not because he was a bad player or because he was too rusty or whatever. He just got super, super unfortunate reverse 3-0'd.
And if that's what we see, if that's the Leffen we see, that's still really good.
Yeah.
And if that's Leffen, if that's 80% of the Leffen that we end up seeing,
yeah,
like that's a good sign. Obviously, we don't know what entrants are gonna drop in between now and the end of registration, but I believe this is the last day of registration, so we should be pretty close to knowing who's here. Basically, you know, everybody but Mango, it seems, at the moment, so take that as you will. If you had to give him a placing, what do you think he gets here?
Yeah, I think he'll get second. He might get third, but I think he'll get second.
Yeah.
He's hanging out with Zayn, right? If I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think he'll get second. I think it. I'm willing to be wrong here. I was wrong about Leffen at Summit because I also thought he was going to be good there.
Second to Zayn, right?
Yes, that's okay. My thought. I do think that he's going to end up going Sheik. I can't imagine him going Fox. That'd be kind of weird, I think.
It'd be really funny if he did.
It would be
a
funny.
Good bit. It'd be a good bit to do Sheik for like 2 whole years, and then the first set they play.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know. I think that Leffen's dominance over Europe is like a lot more impressive than it looks. I think that he performed quite well at Summit. He's going to be playing a lot with a player that's very, very good. So I think he'll de-rust relatively quickly. I think it'll be fine. I think he'll do well.
Yeah. I'd give him second or third as well. I think that's a really fair thing. I guess if we're being like fun, third is the more creative, like fictional world that you can create where he like loses really close to Zayn and then he's just like heartbroken and loses to Cody in losers finals or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely conceivably lose to Cody. Like, I don't want to count him out or anything.
No, and like I think there's a lot of people here who could beat him, but I would say right now, looking at this, I would probably favor him over HBox. I'd favor him over Plup. Like I think there's a lot of people. Yeah, so I'll say second or third. I don't know if you disagree, Patty. If you want to be the cool guy and say he wins the whole thing.
I do not think he wins the whole thing. I think they're I think it's been enough time, or been not enough time for him to really feel like incredibly rusty. But I do think there's a world where he just treats this like the that one big house where he just like all of a sudden got approval to come back to America. He just showed up and played Falco and like lost to Gatsu.
Yeah.
I think there's totally like, has he ever played online in high pressure scenarios? Literally ever? Like he, you know what I mean? Like this has been a thing where like pretty much every top player has battled and dealt with. We saw everyone think that Hungrybox was maybe top 20. I don't know about this anymore, guys. So I don't know. I think it's real. I think the difference of playing online in a high pressure scenario and not having all those like, you know, cues that you go to when you're in person and be able to win the tournament, I think it's real. And I think there's totally a world where dude just like doesn't really want to play that much in that scenario, and then just like, you know, turns. Because I don't know. I think maybe a couple of players suddenly get a Leffen win, but I also think there's a world where he's just like, you know, he's at Zayn's house. He's like sort of like in go mode. He's in this like, he literally came to the US for a tournament. Like I know it's an online tournament, but out of anyone, he had the tournament like experience more than anyone. Like, so I don't know. I think that's something to note. So I don't know. I think I would love to see him win, dude. That'd be so funny if Leffen wins the tournament. But I don't think it's necessarily the real thing that's gonna happen.
It would be very funny to me if Leffen won the tournament, Mango didn't register for the tournament, and then Leffen started calling himself the world champion.
I would love it.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
He hates how badly that happens in the States. So it would be super funny for him to win without the current, like, arguable number one there, and to be like, I'm the best player in the world. No one can beat me.
That'd be awesome.
I'm just glad that Leffen's here. Like,
Yeah,
we are kind of not I think the community is very gracious towards Ludwig for hosting this event, but we're just like it seems a little commonplace, and I don't think we are stepping back and realizing that we have a $30,000 online tournament that's just happening, and he flew out Leffen, and Leffen's in America. Yeah. So I want to like say that that's insane, and you know, it's just like crazy that we are seeing this, and yeah, no, I think that we all agree that Leffen maybe not there. He's not 100% there yet, but even his 90% or whatever we end up seeing still ends up being pretty good. And whatever we see from him in 2022, I think, I don't know. I don't think there's a reason to definitively say that he's not going to win a tournament in 2022 if he gets to go to a lot of stuff. Patti, we got some questions for you from Patreon. We don't have a ton, but we can go through a little bit of it. Mikey Tabletop, I'm not sure if you're familiar, patron of ours. So you were, I believe, on the Mikey Tabletop podcast rankings of 2021. I believe Allston Melee was one slot underneath Waiting for Game. So the question is, what are your plans for 2022 to have the Allston Melee podcast above Waiting for Game in the annual Mikey Pod rankings?
So we're not doing a lot right now to necessarily conquer you on that end. We're doing a lot on the back end that you don't see.
That's hype.
But yeah, this is the first podcast I've been on. I think it's 4 months, which is crazy. We did it all spent the podcast every single week. But we're kind of trying to do this wild upgrade stuff, and it's just everything's just taking longer than we thought it would. You know, turns out like we're just dumb. Dude, we're just dumb. We got a computer built, and we're like, how do you turn it on? And it's been like a week of me and Ryan just being like, dude, I don't know how to turn it on. And so that's a fun aspect. And then we like bring in people who are smarter, and they're like, yeah, I don't know how to turn it on either. And we're like, shit.
All right, Ambi, get up there.
I mean, there's also parts where it's like, you know, we're trying to have multiple cameras to cut to for stuff like that. What I'll say is that the upgraded podcast set, whenever it happens, it's gonna be a beautiful one.
You just want to be Baby Yard.
Hey, I want to do that.
Junior.
We literally bought 3 cameras before that fucking podcast existed. So don't give me that. All right. It's just taking forever to get everything working. Yeah, exactly.
You're insane. That's sick. I can't wait for that to happen. I will say, in terms of the other questions we have, I usually make fun of our patrons for not having good enough questions. This one's on me. I kind of forgot to ask if they had any questions. I asked them today, so we only really have one more. I'm not gonna dignify the "What's your favorite H box" pop off that we get asked every week. I'm not gonna dignify that with a response. So I will go to PTAS, who asks, "What's your starting word on Wordle?"
I don't know what that game is.
Sick.
That's a good answer.
I really don't understand what it is.
I played it like twice in a row because I played it at like 11:55, and then I finished it, and there's a new one. I was like, "Oh, sick!" And then I was like, "Okay, let me play another," because I got them both like pretty quick. Well, I don't know, not quickly. I'm not good at this, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. I got them both, and I was like, "Okay, where's my third one?" And it was like, "Yeah, 23 hours and 55 minutes." I was like, "Okay, I'm done." So I think that's good. Andy, you're a smart guy. Do you partake?
I do Wordle, yes.
What's your starting word?
I do tears. TARES.
Oh, okay. Or tears.
Yeah. I think tears would be spelled differently, but it would be the same letters, so that one would work as well.
Oh, TAR, yes, yes.
Yeah, no, I like Wordle. It's I definitely think it's weird to me that it's so popular though. But yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, man. Hey, Flappy Bird was popular too.
I
I don't know what this means.
Remember when they were selling phones with Flappy Bird on it?
Yeah, I do remember that, dude. That was
dude.
hilarious.
I've got my Movie Pass app still on my phone, and I refuse to get rid of it.
Oh, Seal has a good question. He wants to know if you have any thoughts on doing a second Allston Melee bender, which I think is a super cool question because that was one of my favorite events last year.
Yeah.
Once they turn on the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Once we get the computer running now. So I mean, I just bitched earlier about how online tournaments don't have static branding and may have run a one-off major that contributes to that whole hot potato thing. But yeah, I really, really want to do Allston Melee Bender too. I'm not gonna lie to you, and it's like gonna happen eventually. I couldn't tell you when it's gonna happen, but the amount, like we've kind of done budgeting for it, to sort of figure out like how much the thing costs. And it's like around the same price. Like the Allston Melee Bender 1 costed around I think it was like 8K total. And like we raised that through different avenues to be like confident. And there's a whole part of it to where it's like we run the event like in the mindset of we want to pay as many people as possible to the best rate as possible, which turns out kind of sets you up a little hard for the next one that you do. Because you're like, oh yeah, remember that thing that we committed to? We gotta continue to do that. That long-winded statement aside, yeah, I really want to do it, and I have literally storyboarded out the announcement trailer. So
hell yeah,
I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it will happen.
That's amazing news. This Allston Melee renaissance that is bubbling under when it finally comes up will be amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And hey, we were on the Melee stat, or with the Melee stats cruise on the Allston Melee Bender number 1. So
yeah,
if you're looking for number 2, Patti, you've been a great guest. Before you go, we got one more thing for you. We have a segment that someone who is not on this podcast currently objects to the name. So it's unofficially named Touching Grass, but it's officially unnamed. Basically, the idea behind this is that we talk about Melee so much, and it's easy to like look at people who talk about Melee all the time and think that they only care about Melee. But yeah, we tend to be multifaceted human beings who care about a lot of different things. So we're going to go around. We're going to talk about something that's been going on with our lives recently, something that's been like something that we've been caring about, something that we've been interested in, maybe like a recent hobby or a recent, like, something that we've been binging. So I'll go first so you guys can have some time to think. Recently, I watched Scream 1 and Scream 2, and I thought they were fine. I don't know why I was inclined to watch the first one, but I did feel inclined to watch the second one, and then after that, I was like, I think I'm out. So those were fine. I think, like, in terms of because I also like read reviews after them too, because I was like, okay, well, like, was I wrong to think those were okay? So I definitely devoted a decent amount of time to that over the past 2 weeks since we last had our podcast episode. But the thing that I devoted the most time to that was outside of Melee was watching the Philadelphia 76ers. I know I used this as a thing before. Joel Embiid is amazing. In the month of January, he's averaging 34.5 points and like 10 rebounds, which is incredible. He's leading the league in January in points scored in terms of averages. And 16 of the past 18 games, he scored 30 plus points. So I have been bullying in the Melee Stats Discord with Fendrick Lamar, also Sixers lover, and also chatting in the DMs with basketball lovers Sam Ding and formerly known as Dingus Master, and what else is Jim Jam Flim Flam. So I have been having a lot of fun time talking about basketball to the point where I watched a pretty middling NBA game instead of what was called almost unanimously the best weekend in NFL history. So that's what's been going on with me recently. I hate to be a sporto a couple times in a few weeks, but I mean, legitimately, that's been going on with me. Ambi, we have not seen you in a long time, so I know there's a lot that's going on. But
there is
what
nothing going on.
Okay.
I was struggling with this one. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving all of my objects from one location to another location. I was going to say, something. I watched this video recently called My 100 Favorite Dance Game Videos by a YouTuber called SPV Laboratories.
It's crazy.
And it's like 3 hours long. Nice. And it's like a how do I fucking describe this video? It's a masterpiece, dude. It's like if Allston Melee and Melee Stats were one YouTuber and your lists went to 100 instead of 10. It was the most insane shit I ever watched. It was like 3 hours. I was just glued to the screen the entire time. Just like these people like playing DDR and like screaming their lungs out and shit. And I thought it was awesome. If you have any interest in like DDR or whatever, that's a very fun watch. You don't really need to know that much about it just to see like, you know, a bunch of weird people stepping on arrows all the time. That was a great video though. That's what I'm running with. That's a cool video.
Patti, what's been going on with you?
Sounds like a banger.
It is a banger.
Listen, you brought on Allston Melee. You will get Allston Melee. The thing I've been doing recently is I've been smoking weed, which is crazy.
Nice.
I didn't do that for a long time. Well, not a long time to me, but a while. Like I was like, no, I don't want this anymore. And it was like a cool thing for me to be like, I don't need that. Yeah, hell yeah. But just recently I've been like, wait, this is cool again.
It's wrapped back around to being cool. Or like
exactly.
Horseshoe theory.
Yeah. Well, I just used to get incredibly anxious, and it's like, oh, this is what everyone talks about when they're like, yeah, I don't like that. So it's cool to be on both sides. But yeah, I don't know. That's what's been happening. That's the life update from Patti, to be completely honest.
Hell yeah. It's also legal in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
I think
I'm not breaking laws. I have to go to a weird dispensary, dude. It's fucking why am I in iPad hell?
The way that it tends to be for me, who's never been that big of a partaker in it, but not opposed, is just like convenience. Yeah. And it's like, it's illegal here, and it's just like, not worth my time. I don't really feel like going through the channels. But then when we're, like Genesis or something, it's like, hey, why not? I'm just walking past something. I will give an amount of money that I'm not sure if it's correct for. It's like, it's all like made up numbers. Like the dollar amount, I don't know if that's right. The like number of milligrams, I'm like, sure, whatever. And then in return, I get something that's like Skittles with a Y or something. something that's probably illegal branding. Yeah, no, it's fun. I was in DC with some friends the other. God, I was about to say the other day. This was in November.
Yeah, that was. I remember you you didn't visit me even though you drove past my house. I was so mad at you.
I sell Fendi. Does that count?
No. That made me more mad. I was like, dude, we're the same color in the Melee Stats podcast Discord. We have the green name. You visited the wrong name color.
I don't think we had a night in DC. I don't think we had a night in Maryland. Everything was in Virginia mostly, but in DC, Maryland was just like driving through it for the most part. In DC, it's decriminalized. I believe is the current stance on it, and so you can't buy it, or at least that's not how it really works. So my friend went to a storefront, and it had a bunch of like t-shirts and jeans and stuff like that. And the guy was like, "All right, so are you looking to purchase clothing or MP3s?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, we've got our MP3s in the back. If you want to get our list of MP3s, it comes with a free gift. So like, I'll get you some MP3s if you want it." Because I believe you're able to like not sell it, but you can sell something and then it comes free. So that was amazing to have a guy go like, "We store our MP3 files in the back. Do you want me to get you some?" Yeah, that's insane. That might be one of my favorite touching grass moments. Hey, doing a little more than touching grass.
Right?
I did my job here.
You sure did. You the brand of Allston Melee is not tarnished. That's all you can ask for. Well, Patti, you're doing a lot for the brand of Allston Melee, but you're of course doing a lot for the brand of GenAssist. Your work on GenAssist, I was happy to talk to you about it, and I don't think I got a chance to tell you. Happy to work with you on this. So
yeah, it's been super cool to work directly like this. It's just with a bunch of people. I'm like, oh yeah, you're incredibly talented. That's crazy. But yeah, if you want to support GenAssist, you can go to smash.gg/GenAssist, and you will see both the donation avenues there. You can pick up merchandise from smash.gg/G8/shop, like the lovely hoodie I'm currently wearing. It's a cool design on the back, as well as donate to the directors via PayPal. And yeah, all of those donation avenues go directly towards Genesis TOs themselves. So if we got that all figured out, and just really proud of everyone who's worked directly in this, whether it be a small part or heading a team. Like, it's just everyone's just killed it on all ends, and it just makes the inevitable stress that possibly could exist be immediately alleviated when the most talented person in the world is working on that aspect. So that's really cool, and I love everything about working for this thing.
If people want to find you and Allston Melee online, where can they do so?
At Allston Melee. Try and find me. You can't. I bet you can't.
I think we have your Twitter on the screen.
No, we
yep,
don't.
you can't find me.
Forgot to put it in there.
Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I definitely did it. It's like I don't know what to say, man.
At Allston Melee. At Allston Melee.
I typed it in. I remember doing this. Whatever. Okay. Yes, Allston Melee anywhere. Just type it into anything. What's the Russian one? VM, VK, or something like that. Just type Allston Melee, see what happens. Follow that.
Might be like a spam bot or some shit. I don't know. If runs that account.
Go to AliExpress, buy whatever is from the Allston Melee AliExpress. Yeah, just do whatever. If you want to follow us on Melee Stats, you can do so at Melee Stats Pod on Twitter. That's where we're going to post tweets such as daily reporting. We're going to post links to articles that we put on MeleeStats.co, such as Monday Morning Marth and When's Melee. If you like what you're watching here, you can watch live on twitch.tv/Melee Stats and VODs over the Melee Stats archive on YouTube. While you're over at YouTube, you can check out our Melee Stats main channel. It's going to have our long-form content and video essays. And if you just love what we do in general and want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/MeleeStats. Patti, amazing guest. Thank you for being here. This is an incredibly busy time, I understand, so I really do appreciate you coming on. And I appreciate everyone who... hey, you know what? Ambi, I appreciate you as well. You've not been on in a while. Fun little addition. And it's going to be good to be able to see you on the show more. And I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Definitely catch GenAssist this coming weekend and catch LACS4. And hope to speak to you next week. We can kind of recap what we saw at GenAssist. And hopefully we've got a lot to talk about. because I think LSES4, I know we we had a lot to say about it. I think the results are going to end up pretty cool. So I'm excited to be able to talk to that about that next week. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace out.